Thank you, Harris. And we are on top of a world on security alert, and especially in this country, making sure nothing bad happens ahead of the holiday and during the Thanksgiving holiday. Catherine Herridge at Reagan International on what's being done to make sure you are protected when you fly. Jeff Flock at Chicago's O'Hare on whether those new safety standards and waiting standards are meaning flyers are getting a little annoyed. And Abby Hunson here in New York City, where they're preparing for a big old parade and making sure that nothing happens. We begin with Catherine. Catherine, what's the latest?
Neil, the Secretary of Homeland Security said today that the existing security in place will be intensified heading into this holiday weekend, and he was asked whether some of the big gaps in TSA had been fixed, including the screening of airport workers.
Fewer access points, more continuous random screening of airport personnel, and we're evaluating whether more is necessary right now. That's something that I and TSA have been focused on as recently as today.
If you're traveling at the airports today, you will see very visible signs of the security, like these heavily armed patrols that we're seeing here in the Washington, D.C. area airports. There will also be security that is not seen, such as these behavior detection teams. Some of the most significant change in airport security has come earlier this month after the downing of that Russian jet by a bomb that was claimed by the ISIS terrorist group in Egypt. That has affected airports overseas and flights traveling into the United States. We can't tell you a lot about those security changes because they are classified, but our understanding is that they include double screening, if you will, of passengers, as well as a more intense screening of cargo and luggage, Neil.
All right, Catherine Herridge, thank you very much. Have a safe holiday yourself, young lady.
Welcome.
All right, now to these awfully long lines and nervous long lines and people back a mile away from their gates and how they're putting up with that. Kind of. Because when Jeff Flock first revealed this to us on Fox Business, well, there weren't long lines, and it wasn't anything like we said, but kind of like what we said. Jeff, what's the latest?
It's kind of not like what you would have expected, Neil. You would have expected the thing to be all gummed up. But really, if you look at this, if you know what the United Terminal, that's Terminal 1 at O'Hare, normally looks like, you'd say, wow, this is a light day. And it's not just at O'Hare. Take a look at the numbers nationwide in terms of cancellations and delays. A typical day, you get about 350 cancellations. Today, we are at 26. Take a look at the delay numbers. Normally, on a day like this, you'd have about 4,000 delays. Today, we are at 666. Maybe not a lucky number, but there you go. And I'll ask one of the travelers, have you had problems out there? What's it been like?
You know, it's been pretty easy. I just got in from Dallas and it was smooth sailing the entire way through.
Any visible security beef up?
You know, just looking at the news that's playing on the screens, besides that, I haven't really seen anything in the actual airport.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, Neil. Sometimes it's not your world, it's the real world out here. So what can I tell you? It's not so bad, and that's great news. Maybe if
But at any minute, Jeff, those lines could get long. At any minute.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Oh, we're ready. Don't think we're not ready. We're ready.
Jeff making his final appearance on my show. Thank you very much, buddy. Always appreciate it. I'm kidding. All right, in the meantime, they are making sure that tomorrow's big parade in Manhattan, the Thanksgiving Day Parade, Macy's big event, goes off without any hitches or hassles. Abby Huntsman on 6th Avenue, where the parade is going to be taking place, and they are making sure all the I's are dotted and T's crossed when it comes to security, huh?
Yeah, Neil, I will tell you, it will be busy here tomorrow. Millions will be lined up behind me all along 6th Avenue. For people that have come out to watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and it's supposed to be warmer, so they're expecting about 3.5 million people, plus the 8,000 participants in the actual parade. That includes clowns, balloon handlers, and of course a marching band along the 2.5-mile parade route. But there's no question, Neil, this year people are feeling a little more unsettled with the recent attacks in Paris, and of course the threats that have been made by ISIS, some directly at New York City. But officials tell us there is no imminent threat of an attack. They say we should be vigilant but go about our lives as we normally do. And that's exactly what New York Police Commissioner Bill Bratton is doing.
I'm going to be there. I'm going to enjoy it, look forward to it. And I would encourage people to come down and enjoy it. We are very comfortable that we are able to secure it as we have in years past.
But security will be a little more intense this year with extra uniformed police officers, traffic agents, plus additional mobile cameras, helicopters, K9 and mounted units. The trained dogs will be used to detect explosives, and radiation detectors will be used to search for a dirty bomb. And for the first time, there will be officers from the NYPD's new counterterrorism unit. It's also important to note that over the weekend, hundreds of emergency responders simulated a subway terror drill, which included an attacker wearing a suicide vest. So the takeaway, Neil, is if you're in New York City and you plan to come tomorrow, there's going to be a much heavier police presence. Some you'll see, some you will not see. The good news is, though, they are on high alert and they are prepared if something does happen. Neil, we hope that is not the case, though.
We hope that is not the case, is right. And I already see the beefed up protection just on 6th Avenue and nearby Times Square. Abby Huntsman, thank you very, very much. Good seeing you.
Thanks, Neil.
All right, well, you've heard these reports as well that security officials are very concerned not only about the people who are going back and forth in airports, but the airport workers themselves. Again, this heightened security alert concerns the people who are, supposed to alert the security. Former D.C. homicide detective Rod Wheeler on why they're so concerned and what the big worry is. So it's more, Rod, than just what those guys are missing, but the guys who are doing the checking, right?
Well, exactly. And, you know, what is it and who is it that we actually don't know about? Now, I know that the Department of Homeland Security, Neil, through TSA, has said that they're doing double checking of backgrounds and individuals, and that's fine and dandy. However, at the end of the day, the reality is they don't screen everyone thoroughly like they should. And we've seen case after case, Neil, over the past few years where individuals have actually gotten jobs with TSA at the airport, made their way onto the tarmac, and have done crazy things. So that's going to be a major concern. We're always concerned, Neil, about insiders. We're always concerned about subversives, people that's already working on the inside. You know, if you were to offer those people money, what will they do? Will they plant a bomb somewhere? So we have to be more vigilant, not only about the individuals from the outside, but the individuals working on the inside as well.
You know, that was the incident that came up with Metrojet, with the Egypt thing, right? And then this issue that not everyone is cleared for security, which surprised me.
Well, that's right. And you know what? Here's the other shocker. And this is the reality. It's not to, panic or anything like that, but the airports use a lot of temporary workers during the holiday season. Guess what? These temporary workers have the same level of access to the tarmac and to the airplane. So that's always a concern as well. So I think, the missing piece to all of this when we talk about security, Neil, is that travelers themselves really need to be more vigilant, and they can really be the eyes and the ears for law enforcement over the next few days. And if they see something suspicious, they need to bring it to someone's attention. I always like to say they need to profile. Now, some viewers are saying, what do you mean profile? Profile not based on race or ethnicity, but profile based on actions and behavior. And then bring that to the attention of TSA, and I think we'll be successful.
You know what I worry about mentioning that Egyptian crash is how they snuck on that plane, if we're to believe the reports. Something as simple as the size of a can of soda with a detonator that just blew up in presumably the luggage compartment and set the plane down. Now, that was something that traditional screening measures did not pick up, nor did we tie it to any passenger on the plane. It looks like it was not a passenger on the plane. So are they doing anything about that? Do you know? I mean, any cross-referencing, any of that?
Well, the government will tell you, and TSA through DHS, Neil, they will tell you that they are doing double screening. They're checking these folks out. Neil, do you remember the case back in 2010 with Abdul Muttalib? He was the Christmas Day bomber. He's the underwear bomber. Remember him? And, he got through security as well. He actually made it on a plane in Detroit. So, they do screening, but at the same time, there's always going to be holes. And we can't be naive, Neil, in thinking that there's not a way that a terrorist or somebody that's more nefarious could try to do something on one of our airplanes.
Words to live by. You're right. We got to be careful. Rod Wheeler, thank you, my friend.
That's right.
Great Thanksgiving to you.
Happy Thanksgiving, Neil.
All right, well, we heard a lot about after the Paris attacks, the slip-up in security, the chatter, the fact that agencies and local police weren't talking to one another. Chris Christie has been looking at this intelligence failure and saying maybe we need to beef up our intelligence and maybe we need to beef up our agencies.
Paris is going to prove out to be, in my opinion, in the long run, an intelligence failure. You have people from multiple countries, a synchronized attack. They didn't get together at the Taco Bell 15 minutes before and put this thing together.